All right, there you go. It's recording now. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to a really exciting episode of Geek Vibes Live because we got a lot to talk about and we have some old and new faces here. But I am going to start off with Dom because he's amazing and he is seemingly my partner now on Geek Vibes Live. So, Dom, how are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a little gloomy out here, but that just means I'm gonna sleep good. Get some CBD in me later, and I'm gonna be out.
That sounds like a good night to me, man. And returning, AJ, how are you? It
Uh,
has been so long.
it's been so long. I'm so excited that I'm here.
Me
Um,
too.
much like Dom over here, um, I actually slept most of the day, and I actually stayed up until like 4 in the morning playing Ghost of Tsushima, which is amazing. So I'm good. I'm good.
He's ready, he's jazzed, and I'm excited. And last but certainly not least, I think you are new to GVL, but we have Ricky from Music City Drive In. How are you tonight, Ricky?
I'm not too bad. I would be a lot better right now if the circumstances of, I think the biggest reason why I came on here was to talk about here in a little bit. But you reached out to me. I'm very excited to be here. Excited to just talk whatever's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw your tweets. You were matching my energy, and I was like, you know what? Ricky's never been a part of this before, but you're part of the Geek Vibes Nation family, and I figured let's do this. And I'm pretty excited, and I do want to start this off with what Ricky and I are most excited, but also like angry about. And we're going to talk in general a little bit about the Emmys because they just released the nominations for the 2020 Emmys, which confuses me a little just because the 2020 isn't over yet. So I don't know how they. It's like, I get it. 2020 is a wash and it sucks, but there are still upcoming shows coming out. So I don't know how they necessarily do that. But hey, I don't get paid those type of bucks. But so they came out with their list, and I am happy that Watchmen got nominated. Personally, and Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I know AJ also watches,
Yeah,
got
so
nominated.
good.
Yeah, it's so good. So there were some good ones there that I was happy about, but the biggest snub to me was that Tom Pelphrey did not get nominated for his part as Ben Davis in the third season of Netflix's Ozark. Meanwhile, Ozark got nominated, Laura Linney got nominated, Jason Bateman got nominated. So they clearly watched the season, but they're like, you know that other guy who gave like this really good performance and he like pretty much acted circles around everyone in that season? Nah, let's not give him. And I do have to add that it is Tom Pelphrey's birthday, so that's pretty disappointing news. But Ricky, what do you think about this?
I literally, I woke up this morning. I'm in a group chat with a couple of my friends within in our network, and I said the only nomination I care about today is Tom Pelphrey. The only nomination. And when I say that is like, obviously, yeah, when I found, first off, and I found out, I went off the deep end, right? I just completely fell off the deep end because it's one of the bigger travesties, in my opinion, of any award show like ever. Because in my opinion, not only is it the best performance in a TV show, one of the best I've ever seen in a TV show, period. The transition from the character from the beginning to all the way to the end. He was a very minute person in the beginning of the season, right? And you knew that he would probably play a big role in it throughout the season, but you didn't realize how big of a role and how the transformation of his character from the first time he was to episode 9, which is one of the greatest pieces of television ever, and sit here and nominate. And don't get me wrong, I love Jason Bateman and I love Laura Linney. I would have nominated both of them, but Pelphrey is a disgusting, awful snub. Like, it is so it's one of the best pieces of acting I've seen this year in film or TV, right? And leaving him off is just, and looking at the names, like, look, I don't watch Succession a whole lot, right? You know, I've seen a couple episodes. I know it's great, right? But we have three people in that category from Succession, right? We have 2 from Morning Show. I love Morning Show. I thought it's great television. And then you look at some of these, The Handmaid's Tale. I'm sorry, I like The Handmaid's Tale, but if you look at all these, I haven't watched Westworld, so I don't know how good or not good Jeffrey Wright is. I'm sure he is. Jeffrey Wright's a phenomenal actor, as is, and I don't watch Better Call Saul. But you have 8 nominees. 8. It's not like there was 5 they had to pick them. They have 8 nominees, and not a single one of them is Tom Pelphrey, and it is a travesty. Period.
No, I completely match your disappointment. When Ozark season 3 first came out, Juwan and I watched it, and we talked about man, Tom Pelphrey better get this nomination. And the thing is that I've been a fan of Tom Pelphrey for not say a whole long period of time, but ever since Iron Fist. And have your opinions about Iron Fist all you want. I do as well. But he was the best part of Iron Fist to me. I saw him in the show Banshee, and so I knew him as an actor, and I said he's a lot better than I think people think he is, because he's associated with this show Iron Fist that did quite poorly. But seeing him go into Ozark was so amazing. So I feel that. I was also a little disappointed that Chris Evans got snubbed, just because I think that he did a great job in defending Jacob, but I wasn't nearly as upset as the Tom Pelphrey, because to me it showed an utter lack of them even caring. And as you said, Succession, there was 3 people, and I know people enjoy it. People say that if you watch Billions, Succession is a much better version of Billions. And
I love Billions, so I you know what I mean. I don't ever feel like that ever got the love it did. And you're right. The thing about it is, I would have rather Ozark just been completely snubbed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Don't even give it drama series. Don't give the leads the role. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I will say I love the Schitt's Creek love. I literally binged watched Schitt's Creek within 3 weeks. I had never watched it before. Schitt's Creek is one of the most beautiful, funny, heartwarming stories and shows I've ever it's literally in my top 5 TV shows of all time now, and it's very hard to broach that with a lot of the previous shows, but Schitt's Creek getting a lot of love makes me so happy. It's one of the best shows that I've ever seen. It's hilarious, it's funny, it's heartwarming, but Tom Pelphrey was robbed, and I will never ever 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 forgive the Emmys for this.
And before I give it off to AJ, I will say as well, I am happy that Mark Ruffalo got the recognition. If you followed my reviews, I really enjoyed I Know This Much Is True on HBO. He did a really phenomenal job. Andrew Scott got nominated for his episode in Black Mirror, which I thought was really good. And totally underrated show, Unorthodox, on Netflix got nominated, and I was very excited about that because I didn't think that people had even watched it. So those were the positives. Just Tom Pelphrey was very much a negative. But AJ, first of all, I'm not sure if you watch Ozark, but in general from the Emmys, is there anything that stood out to you, either being nominated or a snub, something that you were how could they not nominate that?
Yeah, with me, I haven't watched that much television in 2020. I've been actually playing mostly video games, but when I look at this list, ones that stood out to me, because I recently just got caught up with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I think is hilarious.
Kirby got nominated, and Sterling K. Brown, so I'm very excited about that.
K. Brown in that.
He's so good in that. Sorry, go ahead.
Also, I'm happy, but I don't think it deserves this nomination, which is The Mandalorian. Even though I am happy that it got it, I think what was the other show? I actually watched the show recently. I think it's called I May Destroy You on HBO Max. I feel like that is not done yet, but I feel like that one probably deserved a nomination instead of The Mandalorian. I haven't watched Better Call Saul, but it is on my list to watch. I've watched half of The Crown, so I can't talk on any of that. Insecure is actually pretty funny as well, so I'm happy that got a nomination. Dead to Me, I felt like was really, really good. Probably one of the best television series on Netflix. So those are the main things that I was happy about.
Yeah, I mean, I saw The Mandalorian got a lot of nominations, and it's cool. I have no problem with it, although, and you guys know I love Taika Waititi, but he got nominated for like his small little part, and then I like how they gave a nomination to Giancarlo Esposito, which, don't get me wrong, he's amazing, and I can't wait to see more of his character. But I'm like, he was in it for like a blink almost, but they were like, nah, he's that good. Like, let's give him the nomination. But so it is interesting how they decided to pick and choose this year. But Dom, kind of same question that I proposed to AJ. I mean, was there anything that stood out to you, either that you were excited that it got nominated, or are there any snubs of that you're like, damn, what the hell?
It's crazy. I'm going through the list and I'm like looking at like how many of these shows I don't watch, and I think that's the thing that I don't get is that there are so many shows on streaming services that are possibly better, and I can't think of none off the top of my head, but I get that you pick the popular ones.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the Oscars, a lot of the movies that win are not the popular movies. So why isn't TV done the same way? Because I'm sure there's some shows that are like amazing, but like people haven't caught on to it yet, and they'll catch on to it later, and then they're like, no, well, they're not popular. You know what I mean? And maybe it's just because it's a ratings thing and they need that instant gratification to put things to a vote. But I still think that if you're going to do one voting a certain way for the movie, you should probably try to do a little bit with the Emmys. I will say with the animated shows, okay, I like Rick and Morty, but I watched Justin Roiland's new one on Hulu. I can't remember the name, but it's like two aliens that are on Earth.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I think it's better than Rick and Morty. I don't know why it's not on this list. Like, take The Simpsons off. I've watched The Simpsons in like 10 years. Does anybody watch it anymore? I don't know anybody that watches it anymore. So yeah, I think that show, like, I remember me and my fiance watched it, and we were both like, this is better than Rick and Morty. I don't want to say it out loud because people are looking, but I think it might be a little better. So yeah, I think that's one that kind of stuck out to me because The Simpsons, are they on it literally on this list every year? I mean, I would assume because their run is so long, but no one watches The Simpsons. If I've seen The Simpsons recently, it's because my TV was on Fox and it came on and it was just in the background. But other than that, some of these shows I haven't watched at all. Like Ozark, I keep hearing things about it and I just haven't clicked play
yet. Watch it. Please watch it.
And I just haven't watched it. I keep going back to watch older shows that I never got a chance to watch. So I recently put on my list Nightman from the 90s. I remember watching it back in the day. I just, I was a kid. But I think it was one of those underrated superhero shows that no one talked about because superheroes, media wasn't that big, like mid 90s, besides like Blade.
Yeah.
But TV show, they were like, who wants to watch? If it wasn't like Dark Angel or, something like that, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, nobody was watching it. But other than that, I haven't seen Succession. I haven't seen The Crown. I haven't seen Better Call Saul. Like, I have to catch up on some of these shows. I think I'm more of a film guy than a show guy because for some reason I just always go back to like The Office or Master of None and those shows I can just kind of put on and fold clothes and come back and know what's going on. So yeah, that's the hard part for me. But like you said, why are they doing it now when Cursed just came out? Cursed was amazing.
Thank you.
So the thing about it is, like, I looked at the date thing or whatever. Like, they had till like June, I think 5th or something like that to enter their stuff in. And I was looking at the deadlines and stuff, and I'm just like, it doesn't make it. But I'm pretty positive this is around the same time of the year that they always announce it. I think I'm pretty positive. So it's like right around this time every year. So I'm wondering if it's like through like June to June, June to June instead of like a typical January to December, which would make sense. But you know what I mean? The thing about it is this. So obviously, I'd be remiss not to talk about Silicon Valley. They nobody ever like that never gets any love, right? And then the other thing is I think what the other thing we have to remember is The Wire. The Wire never won an Emmy. It only ever had 2 nominations, and it was for writing. The Wire is one of the greatest pieces of television that's ever existed, and it never got 1 acting nominee. Not one. Not one in the history of the Emmys. It got 2 nominees. It was for writing twice, and The Wire is my all-time favorite show. So it's like, it's just like the Oscars. We always set ourselves up for failure. It's like this is going to be the year. Oh my God, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome. And then they announce the nominees, and then we get to the Tom Pelphreys of the world. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God. Like,
well, I mean, because Dom is completely right. They go with the popular ones, like freaking Game of Thrones winning last year when it had no business to win. I was going to say, I love Stranger Things, but I definitely don't think it deserves to be nominated. I'm sorry. Now I'm looking at the freaking list here, and yeah, I don't know. It's just...
Why is Saturday Night Live even in the category for like comedy series?
It hasn't been funny in like 20 years.
And that's it hasn't, but it's like, shouldn't they be in something different? You know what I mean? Like, look, like Brad Pitt got nominated. Yeah. He was on Saturday Night Live apparently for 60 seconds. Like, it was a name thing. You know what I mean? And that's exactly right. Outstanding guest actor in a comedy series. Like, why is that even, first off, why is that even a category? But, you know what I mean? Like, I digress.
It makes no sense, but I think that we vented enough on that, and we'll just never be okay with Tom Pelphrey not being nominated. Happy birthday regardless, Tom Pelphrey. We appreciated your role in the 3rd season. But let's move on. I did want to talk about... So Dom mentioned Blade, and I'm like, okay, this is an odd segue into the next topic. But so during the San Diego Comic-Con, the Comic-Con at Home, Save Daredevil had a panel where a few actors came on, including actor Peter Shinkoda. If I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. But he played Nobu on Daredevil. And first of all, I saw him like 3 years ago at Big Apple Con, and he was like so excited about the prospect of like coming back as Nobu. But, we only saw him in season 2. Well, he reveals during this panel that Jeph Loeb, who was the former head of Marvel TV, said, quote unquote, no one cares about Asians. That's why he didn't write any further storylines about Nobu. That's why Peter and the actress who plays Madame Gao were not invited to the premiere of Daredevil season 2. That's why nothing went any further. And Jeph Loeb's whole reasoning was, well, in the Blade trilogy, and again, these are just quotes what I'm saying, Jeph Loeb was saying, every movie in the Blade trilogy, they killed about 200 Asians and no one cares. So no one cares about Asians. And then also on top of that, he denied the prospect of Danny Rand being casted as someone who, say, was half Asian, like mixed race. And he just wanted it to be a white guy. So these are pretty big accusations. And Peter has kind of expanded on that with several interviews. But I want to say, as a Daredevil fan, we would have loved more Nobu, and Madame Gao was one of the most important characters. Like, when we watched The Defenders, because I watched that with my mom, she was like, wait, is that the end of Madame Gao? And I'm like, I think that's the end of Madame Gao. So that was crazy. But AJ, I'll start with you. What do you think about these comments that Peter made?
Yeah, that's probably one of the most stupidest comments of this year, probably, and in the year, basically. I like it because Marvel is basically doing Shang-Chi. And Kevin Feige literally is going to prove him wrong, saying no one cares about Shang-Chi, and then Shang-Chi is going to come out and make over $700 million. So it irritates me because why does why does race have to do with money? And I just don't understand any of that. So I've just heard about this like 2 seconds ago, and I was like, okay. At this point, I'm happy it was Jeph Loeb.
Jeph Loeb, yeah.
I'm happy he's not doing anything Marvel anymore, basically. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, if that's his stance with it, then thankfully he's not in Marvel anymore. I just don't understand ever the idea of being so. I mean, you shouldn't be racist in general. What I was going to say was that, but like being blatantly racist to someone's face, because it seems like according to Peter, that Jeph Loeb said this to him, and I'm like, how do you say to an Asian man that no one cares about Asians? And then to also have that idea, again, you made a show, Iron Fist, about martial arts and that sort of culture, and to say that no one cared about, people did care about it, they just didn't care about the actors that you got to play this character. So
the story.
Or the story, yeah. Again, I mean, I watched it for Tom Pelphrey as Ward, again, throwing Tom Pelphrey there. But yeah, I mean, I just thought that was really ridiculous, and I'm glad that Peter is saying something. I think it's starting a trend of forcing these people in Hollywood to take accountability for their bullshit, such as Ray Fisher calling out Joss Whedon. But Ricky, what do you think about Peter's comments? And you watched the Daredevil series, right?
Oh God, the Daredevil series is phenomenal, right? Yeah. It was some of the best fight sequences I've ever seen in any television show. You know what I mean? And of course that it also gave us, the Punisher, which, was a spinoff, and which is also phenomenal. You know what I mean? John Berthel is. I
got you on that, Ricky.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, but for me, these comments anymore, it's disheartening, right? These are the people, some of these people are in control of casting or, influencing other people within the industry, and at the same time understanding that they're holding back other individuals. You know what I mean? This is definitely not the time for some, revelation like this to be coming out against you, because, no time is it, but you know what I mean? Even more so now, more than ever. And especially during a season like this where there's not a lot of big news circulating everywhere. So a lot of articles that might be pushed underneath the rug because there's other news stories that are ahead of them. Right now, this is high and tight in front of us, and it's disgusting. And I believe that people can change, but this guy's career path should be at a halt right now. You know what I mean? Why would anybody want to work with this guy? You know what I mean? I know I personally, I wouldn't want to work with this guy. You know what I mean? Like it's disheartening. You know what I'm saying? It's frustrating. You know what I mean? So
it is definitely disheartening, because it kind of puts a black cloud on something like going back and rewatching, say, Daredevil, and you go, oh, that's right, we could have had more Nobu or more Madame Gao or whatever.
Exactly.
Some guy up ahead. And someone also then pointed out Jeph Loeb showing up to say like the Iron Fist San Diego Comic-Con wearing like a robe and like something around his head, and like kind of seeing that Jeph Loeb has always had this tendency to just, culturally appropriate and just be very, very tone deaf, it seems. But Dom, what do you think about these comments that Peter has made?
It's what I think what the problem is, and a lot of different shows and movies have touched on it, and his comments are a perfect example of he wanted to do some stereotypical shit. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that because these people, whoever you're going against, are people of honor and respect, so they're not gonna let you, especially nowadays, say things like this or be treated like this. Or someone, I was watching Master of None last night, and then Aziz is going out for a part as a taxi driver. He does his part, and then the casting director says, oh, that's great. So can you do it with like an accent? And he's like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. And he's like, you mean like an Indian accent? And they're like, yeah. And so my thing is like, people like him, it's not enough for the person to already be a part of a culture and be a certain ethnicity, but you want them to be the stereotype that you think of what that culture is. And, we've all seen like 9 Other Teen Movie, right? There's going to be one black guy. And we say things like, damn shit, and that's whack because they're making fun of Hollywood and that's the things that they do. And now we're seeing more and more of these actors like call it out. Because before, of course, they got to work. So even if they didn't want to take these parts, they're like, I got to work. It sucks. I'm probably not going to enjoy myself as much, but I got to get this money, pay my rent. But now these actors are seeing like with social media, we've got power. So you want to be an asshole? How much for the world you're an asshole? And there's no place for it. I mean, I don't like AJ was saying, why say, oh, no one cares about Asians? I love Asian people. I love all people. But some of my like best friends growing up, Asian people, I was very much influenced by Asian culture. I would love to see that storyline. We all would love to see that storyline. And to try to say that no one cares is very dismissive because Asian people have their culture is very impactful on America as a whole. 100%. So I don't know what he's talking about. So clearly he's got some hate issues he needs to deal with, and good luck in his future.
I would like to say that I like how actors and just a lot of people in the industry are actually starting to stand up for what they think is right. So that being said, I love that, and it should have been done a long time ago, but I guess they didn't feel comfortable at the time. But now that we have all this drama going on with Corona and then all the police brutality and everything. So race right now, if you want to comment on race, you shouldn't do it in a negative light, right? At this point in time, you shouldn't do it at all. So what he said was poor in taste, poor timing, which is just poor timing as in general, and just plain old stupid. And I agree with what Ricky said, and his job, he needs to be put on hold, and it's just ridiculous as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what Dom said. It kind of, like our American culture is very influenced by Asian culture, right? I mean, what was one of the first takeout food in this country? It was Chinese food. People love sushi, and you like to decorate your apartment maybe with more of an Asian flair, and people love
and all these things.
Yeah, people love karate movies, so it reminds me of in Do the Right Thing, when you had the one pizza guy who was saying that he didn't like African Americans, and then the main character's like, but you love this music, and you love this, and you like this person, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you sound really stupid, like just even saying things like that. So it disheartened me because I liked the actor, Peter. I liked his character. And as someone who went to Big Apple Con a few years ago and literally sat in the same room with him and hearing how passionate he was. And by the way, he did respond to our comment on not Facebook, on Instagram, where he said he was prepared to do more as Nobu. So I do certainly wish him the best in his future in acting, and hopefully he'll get more roles. And Jeph Loeb, I don't know what that guy's doing right now because Kevin Feige pretty much kicked him to the curb. So he's not around anymore. But so let's move on here. I put down in my notes obligatory Zack Snyder stuff. AJ, I know you said you spoke about already, but why don't you actually lead us on this? And what were the big points that we should talk about, we should know about Justice Con?
Okay, so with Zack Snyder, we're going to talk about Zack Snyder's comments for a little bit.
Okay.
Basically, they had questions for him, and he answered, basically, Henry Cavill has no mustache in this cut. So I feel like that's great. He also said that there will be no scenes from the Whedon cut.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then he just goes on, and he just goes on a big old rant saying that there will be no chance in hell. Basically, that scenes from Whedon's cut will be in this, and he will rather destroy the movie than put his scenes in it. And I just feel like when I first heard that, I was like, okay, there was some type of beef between the two and Josh, and just the overall cast with Josh and everything. Just the drama as a whole, I feel like, yeah, it was there, and I love going on with Ray Fisher. I love how he comments the way he comments. He doesn't say everything in specifics, which is great because he is taking legal action, and he really shouldn't give us Twitter, Facebook, any social media, any ground to base off anything. So I love that he's staying quiet as much as he can, but trying to give us some insight of what's going on behind the scenes. With yeah, you can go.
Oh, sorry. No. I was just going to say that I feel like a part of Zack Snyder's comments about Josh Whedon also comes from his loyalty to Ray Fisher, just because now Ray Fisher is coming out and saying all these things. And, I think Ray has talked about how close he and Zack are. So I almost feel like that attributes as well. But yeah, those were some pretty strong comments. They certainly were. And I know everyone freaked out about the black Superman suit. So, Ricky, what are your thoughts on Zack Snyder's comments and then also the reveal of the black Superman suit?
See, it's so crazy to me. It's like, I'm very excited about the cut, right? I am excited, but I'm also tired of hearing about the cut. You know what I mean? And it's like, my funny thing about it is like, when we heard him say he came out and said, I'm working on this every single day. And everybody's like, oh my God, is he really? And it's like, guys, like, this guy is a director. You know what I mean? He's a writer. That's what he does. This is what he does for a living. So yeah, he's working on it every single day. That's like part of what he does, right? You know what I mean? It's a touchy line. It's an interesting thing for me. I want to see it. I'm a bigger fan of the film, you know what I mean, than most people are. I don't really hate much of what DC has put out other than Aquaman, which I thought was pure garbage. But outside of that, like, I really do. I'm sorry. But to me, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, let's just see it. You know what I mean? Like, let's start putting some action. And I know he is. The Superman suit, super cool. Very excited about that. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see what his vision is, what he wanted, what he's going to do with it. But for me, it's like, all right, I'm tired of hearing about it. I know it's big news. I know a lot of people like to talk about it, but it gets the clicks, it gets the conversation started. But just shut up and work at home from now on, right? You know what I mean? Like, let's work on it. Let's see it when it's done. A lot of it's already shot, so he could do and manipulate with what he wants. Put out some teasers here and there for us to be like, oh my God, that looks awesome. And then we talk, but I'm excited. The distancing himself from the past doesn't really surprise me, especially like you said, with him sitting next to Ray Fisher. That's you have to do that, right? You have to. I don't think he's doing it just for show either. I'm just saying, though, he is sitting next to Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher has been very strong and passionate about what he says. If true, another situation where it's like, all right, man, like, hey, Josie, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not cool. Put him on the back burner. But a lot of these things are happening as we consistently go through these people. And it's like, it's starting to tarnish some of these things that we kind of hold dear to us. And it's kind of like the similar thing of watching Daredevil back. It's kind of looking back at some of Whedon's work, and it's like, man, like, what could have been, right? You know what I mean? But as a collective whole, I'm ready. I'm ready to see it. I know we're another 20 years away from seeing anything, realistically in the world, but give it to me, please.
At least this will be on HBO Max, so exactly. We don't have to go to a theater. I mean, these guys know that I'm not really any sort of excited about Zack Snyder's cut. I was a big person saying that it doesn't exist, which I still say because it's not completed, and he made it seem like it was sitting there in his home completed. But I actually didn't mind. Okay, so It was terrible, yes, but I didn't necessarily mind the theatrical cut when I went to go see it. When I went to rewatch it again, when I went to go visit Brittany, we literally stepped away from the TV and went and did other things, and we were like, "Oh yeah, that's right, Justice League is playing in the background." I forgot about that. But listen, if it makes fans happy, that's all that's really important. I mean, we've had other movements, like I don't know if you guys know, for say the show Winona Earp, that had a huge movement because that got halted like before the fourth season could even go in production, even though it was approved for a fourth season, and they finally got their fourth season because fans rallied. Obviously, there's a Save Daredevil movement, which I'm like excited about, even though
I'd rather have that than this.
Oh, 100%, 100%. The unfortunate thing is I don't think it's very realistic, but I will sit there and every time do hashtag Save Daredevil because I believe in Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. But listen, if it makes people happy with the Snyder Cut, more power to you. I hope that it's everything that you wanted. But please, when it comes out, if it's not that good, don't do another campaign. But Dom, what are your thoughts on everything that kind of came out with?
Hold on one second. Release the better version of the Snyder Cut. That's what I mean. Like,
they're gonna be like HBO stifled Zack Snyder's vision again. And it's like, guys, at some point, when are you just going to admit that it's not a good movie? Like, move on, But I don't know if Zack Snyder can move on necessarily, but that's the whole... I don't feel like having the Zack Snyder fans attack me, because they can be pretty
brutal.
Oh, my God. I'm not going to say this really on air because it was pretty messed up, but there was one person who made like some sort of comment about Zack Snyder's daughter in connection to Marvel and being a conspiracy, and Marvel took it, and I was like, oh my God, where is your head going? So yeah, I don't know. But Dom, what are your thoughts on all this?
Man, this whole thing is very much like a middle school class president race. You have all these directors that are like, there's a cut. You should see it. It's the best one. No, I have a cut that's better than that one. And it's just like a whole bunch of them just throwing out promises. And it just happened that Snyder got the votes and now his has got the money to get finished. It's so weird. I mean, I guess it's cool if you're a Snyder. You're like, you feel like The Rock. You're the people's director. And they're like, yeah, they want it done. I'm going to put this out. But my thing is, we have an election coming up, right? We're in quarantine. If this movie is trash, I'm not coming out the house for like 2 weeks because it's gonna be ugly out there.
People are gonna be fighting on the streets.
Because we saw them spend all this money on billboards and shirts and all that stuff. If it's terrible, they might make damn Voltron and start destroying buildings. I don't know. So I mean, I am curious to see how much different his cut is going to be than the theatrical version. Because I feel like, especially, in that world, I'm sure he knew, heard echoes of what Joss was doing and things he had said. And so I'm sure he tried to make his version as opposite as possible within staying in the story line that he had before. So we'll see. I do want to see it. I'm curious. But like I said, if it ain't good, Twitter's gonna be on fire.
Yeah,
it's gonna break the internet. Sorry, AJ, go ahead.
One of the issues I have right now is a lot of people are super excited, like myself, and I'm afraid that so many people are going to say, "Oh, I love this movie so much," and it's terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. They're just gonna be like, it's good, but they know in their heart they're like broken.
There'll be another war going on. I mean, release the Snyder Cut fans, and then the people who just absolutely hate Zack Snyder for some odd reason. So that's one of the things that I do not wish to see. And to go on to what Dom was saying, I think it's going to be completely different. He did finish his cut. while he was filming it, he did finish filming it. It was just the CGI and yeah, CGI, color grade, and all of that is what he didn't finish. And when he, with the accent that with his family and so on, Josh was in, and Kevin Tsuchihara, I think was his name. He told him it has to be 2 hours in length.
Yeah.
And so he basically cut more than half of what Zack Snyder did. And then he had, in front of that, he had reshoots and changed a lot of the things that Zack did. And for me, I personally think everything's going to be different with that movie. Not just from the CGI. I think it's the acting, just the whole direction of the movie. I feel like this is just going to be a whole new movie.
Well, we all know that Zack Snyder is afraid of color, so it's going to be so dark that I won't be able to see shit.
Hey, I'm sorry you can't see.
Ricky wears glasses too, all right? My fellow non-seer over here. Don't let this confuse you. These are contacts in here. No. I mean, listen, my whole thing is that I just Zack Snyder can do whatever the hell he wants. I just dislike when people. My fear is that he's going to come out with his Snyder Cut, and people are going to be like, "Oh, we'll throw away all the other plans." Like when they were saying that, he was getting his Snyder Cut, they were like, "Well, Matt Reeves's, movie is now thrown out the window." And Zack even said that I think him and his wife said they're excited for Matt Reeves. Like, let directors celebrate each other instead of being against, or people who are like, "Oh, well, Wonder Woman 1984 is trash because it doesn't have Zack Snyder and it's so brightly colored." And it's like, I'm pretty sure Zack.
He talked about that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he's excited for 1984 too. Everyone's bickering while they're all sitting in the background supporting each other, and it's just, I wish they'd be a little louder about supporting each other so that the fans would just calm the hell down.
They won't calm. They won't. Even if they did do that, they were like, "No, that's not what he."
They were coerced. The evil Marvel people made them do it. Speaking of Marvel and another fandom that could be equally as crazy as the Snyder cultists, we got some casting news for an upcoming Disney Plus. I love AJ's face there.
I love it.
So seemingly it is confirmed that Hailee Steinfeld will come on the upcoming Hawkeye series as Kate Bishop. AJ, I'm going to start right with you because you seem super pumped. Okay. How do you feel about this?
Super excited. Did it confirm, or is it still just a rumor on it?
So according to the Illuminati, who is the source that we got it from, and they apparently have good sources. They've had, they've been right in the past with things. They have a source that she's officially signed on. So I guess until, Marvel says anything, it is a rumor, but it seems confirmed.
Okay. But anyway, yes, I'm 100% excited. When I first heard the news that she wasn't going to be in talks for it, there was some type of news for that. I was very disappointed because I really love Hailee, and I'm just so excited about this news overall. She soloed Bumblebee, so I'm just going to say that she destroyed in what's that TV series called on HBO Max?
Dickinson or something?
She was incredible in that. So acting wise, 100%, I'm all for it. And she's multi-talented, so I'm good. I'm good.
I will admit that I've not seen Bumblebee or Dickinson, so I've never really seen her work. But if they're going for, say, the age bracket and stuff like that, I mean, listen, people seem excited. What'd you say?
Did you watch Edge of 17?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, so good.
It's really good.
Okay. Is that a movie or a
Yes. Yeah. Movie.
movie? I'll put it on the list. I need movies this weekend. But listen, I haven't heard one bad thing from people about this rumor, so it seems like this is what everyone wanted. And as it's been told, the Hawkeye series will essentially be Clint passing the torch over to Kate Bishop. So that means that she's going to be our Kate Bishop in the future of the MCU. So this is for the long haul, seemingly. But Ricky, what do you think about Hailee seemingly confirmed to sign on for Hawkeye?
So I'm very excited about this. I think Hailee Steinfeld is a phenomenal actress, right? I totally 100% agree with Bumblebee. Bumblebee was way better than it ever had any right to be. And a lot of that had to do with her. You know what I mean? And it was the first honest, honest to God, good Transformer movie. Like the other ones were, like the first one's good, but it wasn't good. It's like in a box office team. This actually had a genuine story, and it worked because of her. And Edge of 17 was a phenomenal film as well. I loved her acting in that. So this is very exciting. The one thing that Marvel does right is casting, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They 95% of the time, I can't even think of the 5% off the top of my head, but I want to say 99, but 95% of the time knock out the casting. And this one, adding her to this mix, Renner's a good actor. You know what I mean? He's a really good actor. So, you know what I mean? Having a sidekick like this that can act as well is only going to enhance the series. So I'm very excited about this casting.
She froze.
Tia frozen?
Yeah. Sorry, sorry about that, guys. All I heard was Ricky saying that Renner was a good actor, and that's something we'll have to disagree on. But it's okay. You can go ahead. I didn't hear the rest of
The Town? You ever watch The Town?
I actually never have.
Oh
actually, I will say that I liked him in Hurt Locker. I liked him in Hurt Locker a lot. So, I just have
Hawkeye, don't get me wrong. I think Hawkeye's a terrible comic book hero. You know what I mean? It's just like he's super uninteresting. But
he should have been the one who ended up instead of Black Widow. But that's just my opinion here.
I will say Kate Bishop as Hawkeye, I feel like is more compelling than Clint is in the comics.
Yeah, no, that would be really good, and especially it seems like they're getting like younger cast. You have Tom Holland, Hailee. They're gonna have Ms. Marvel, so they're definitely working towards a younger cast that they know will be in it for the long haul, or hopefully will be in it for the long haul. But Dom, what's your opinion on Hailee? It seems to be, again, Illuminati has done really well with their sources in the past, so they say that she signed on. So what do you think about that?
Well, first, I gotta agree with Ricky. Hawkeye he don't do it for me. Now, I respect them being like, you got these superheroes with powers, and I'm just really good at shooting shit. Like,
Emmy did no justice to the character.
It's because he really liked Age of Ultron, and that line is from Age of Ultron that he's like, oh, love it. But I have to say, Age of Ultron is why we got like 20 minutes of just pure Hawkeye, because Jeremy Renner was like, I didn't have enough time in the first Avengers. And
right.
It's like, because all you do is shoot arrows. But I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No justice.
But
Dom.
No, you good. But now that she's been cast, or seemingly been cast, now I want to watch it. More than before, because like both of them said, she's really good. And I don't know if it's just like she's just comfortable, if she understands her subject matter better than other people. But everything she's in, whether she's like the star or not, she kind of just steals every scene she's in. And I think I saw the Edge of 17 in theaters with my sister, and then I was like, who was that? Why is she so good? Like, anybody who can pull off the witty dialogue without trying, you're up there with me. You know what I mean? And then everything I saw her in, she got better and better, and then she can sing. She has a singing career also, right? Like,
she does.
So, she can do what she wants to do, because, this we see these newer generations of actors that are in their early 20s, and they just keep getting better. So I expect that if she doesn't want to stick around, there's eventually if the show I don't know how long it's gonna go, there's a problem because she can carry a show. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting to see.
I will say that the whole idea, obviously, of Hawkeye passing the torch is interesting to me because then that means no Jeremy Renner anymore. But no, seriously, that is really cool. It seems like she was a fan favorite among people, and as you said, as Ricky said, Marvel for the most part, like 9 out of 10 times, does casting perfectly. So yeah, hopefully that is the case here. Let's move on. So I know that AJ wasn't the biggest fan of this show, but it is pretty big news. The Boys got renewed for a third season, and this is before I know I'm with you, Ricky. Here, this is before the second season has even premiered. So you know that the powers that be have seen something really good in season 2 that they're even deciding to give them a season 3 beforehand. And I personally loved the first season, super excited for the second season. And my biggest hope for season 3 is that they finally get Jeffrey Dean Morgan in, because that has been the rumor. Showrunner Eric Kripke says that he wants to make it work around Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Walking Dead schedule. And to me, I'm like, just stop Walking Dead so that Jeffrey Dean Morgan can be in The Boys season 3, but which I know probably kills Dom over here. But I'm excited that The Boys got renewed for a third season. Dom, what do you think about that?
I really wish that I was one of those people that had the opportunity to like give this show the third season, because you've already seen how great it is. That's gonna be an amazing job. Just like, oh yeah, I mean, go ahead. Like I saw it. It's I'm not for you.
It's all
No,
you.
I'm so excited for the second. I'm so excited for the second season. So them already greenlighting the third season. I'm like, okay, so all right, put it on TV now. I need to see it now. Go ahead, put it on Prime. And no, if they can get Jeffrey Dean Morgan, that dude is one of the most charismatic people I've ever seen on screen. Him playing Negan, I was like, I don't want to see Rick Grimes no more. Make it the Negan show. I'm perfectly okay. And his aesthetic just fits that cast very well too. But no, that's huge. Like that you have faith in the show that much that they're like, and it's very opposite of Netflix. Netflix is like, oh, season 2 hasn't come out. Well, it's gonna come out tomorrow, but we're gonna cancel it also. And
Now what's the
I was like, nah, go ahead and season 3, we good. So yeah, that's big news.
Yeah, the Netflix 2 days after it premieres, you're like, oh, this is so great. Just binged it. And Netflix like, I just canceled it. Just canceled it. But yeah, no, I mean, that is awesome. It looks crazy. They showed a clip of like the boys on a boat tearing through a whale, and the deep is there. I'm just like, oh wow, okay, this like tops whatever the hell happened with the dolphin in season 1. It looks freaking epic. I'm so pumped. As I said, I loved season 1 last year. I felt like The Boys and Doom Patrol were right up there for me. I just thought that they were like some of the best superhero television that I've ever seen. So yeah, they've obviously saw something they really liked in season 2, and let's do it another season. But Ricky, I saw you fist pumping over there. What are your thoughts on it being renewed for a third season?
First off, I love The Boys. Okay, so going into it, I had no expectations, and it's like Deadpool on crack. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like that's exactly what it is. It's not for everybody, and I understand why. You know what I mean? It is super at times, super raunchy, right? But it's kind of not my cup of tea, but I mean, I love Deadpool. And this is, like I said, Deadpool and crack. It's a hilarious show. The story was solid. They incorporated everything really, really well. It's funny. I love that Seth Rogen is behind this as well. You know what I mean? Seth Rogen is brilliant. I think Seth Rogen has a career behind him for the rest of his life, producing and creating shows. I think that's one low-key thing that everybody forgets about Seth Rogen. It's like the same thing with John Krasinski. You know what I mean? John Krasinski has created so many random like I didn't even know that he was the one that created that karaoke show on MTV or whatever it was. You know what I mean? He was the one that's his baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I think Seth Rogen's in that same boat. So it again, getting a go ahead from a like a streaming platform before your season 2 even premieres is mind blowing. So season 2's got to be good, right? Like Dom said, you know what I mean? I can't wait. September 4th, just bump it up to August 4th for us. I think whenever I get off here, I'm going to see if I can email Amazon's PR to see if I can get a hold of this just early or something, because I'm super excited about season 2.
I will say the only thing about season 2 is that I believe only the first 3 episodes will premiere September 4th, and then it will happen weekly. And it's like, come on, this is the whole point of streaming services. Just put it all in the first season.
So they're going the Hulu route.
They're going the Hulu route, but the first season was all 8 episodes in one shot. But AJ, again, I know that you weren't the biggest fan of season 1, but what are your thoughts about it getting the green light early on for season 3?
I think it's good. A lot of people love it, and if they're getting another season, good for them. I will say to you, the only reason why I didn't like The Boys is because it just looked
costumes.
Yeah, it looked too cosplayer-ish, and I didn't really care for the CGI in it. But I will say the story itself is incredible, and I'm actually rewatching it now because I am going to watch season 2 of it. I think it deserves my viewership because it does have that great storyline, and despite all that, I know I have to get over my hate with the costumes and all, because that's not the only thing that goes into making a TV series or a film. You have to, for me at least, you have to evaluate the whole series as a whole. So I'm actually going to be fair on this and say I am excited for it, and I'm rewatching season 1 now. And I should be done with it tonight or tomorrow morning.
I certainly know what you're talking about. I think we even talked about this when we did the review, last year. But I do think that the cosplay-ish look is supposed to be on purpose because these characters are supposedly like knockoffs. I mean, obviously Homelander is supposed to be Superman. Queen Maeve is supposed to be Wonder Woman. The Deep is Aquaman. So I feel like in a way that was like purposeful, but I totally get it. So we just have a couple of more topics to kind of go through here. I just threw this in because, again, I know Dom is the Walking Dead fan, or I don't know if Ricky and you, AJ, are still big fans of The Walking Dead, but the screenwriter for the upcoming Rick Grimes movie says that it will be in the same vein as Logan. Dom, I'm going to start right with you. What does that mean for you?
Well, I think the person that they were talking to or that said it was Scott Gimple. Now, Scott Gimple says it's got to be true. That dude is a master at his craft, and so if he doesn't sugarcoat things too often, and for it to be a kind of noir feel, and I saw he said that people who didn't watch the show would still like it, but the people who did watch the show are gonna be like, oh, that's why he's harboring this animosity from the past and things like that. I'm excited because there was some lulls in the last season of The Walking Dead. Like I think I said on another podcast that when they did the time jump, I wasn't a big fan of it. I understood why they did it. It felt weird, and everybody had different the thing when shows do time jumps or it's a new season and it's like it's been 2 years. Why does everybody have to do haircuts and like I've had this same look for years. 5 years from now, I'm gonna look the same way. I might have some more grays, but that's about it. So it just kind of threw me off. But the show, for a lot of people was starting to get like, when's it gonna end? And even I got to that point. But this past, with the Whispers, it reinvigorated my love for the show. And I do want to know what happened to Rick because we know Rick's not dead. So what's gonna happen? And so I'm really excited about it.
The only thing that would make the Rick Grimes movie interesting to me is if the whole time he hallucinates Shane with him. Like, as he's on his like adventure, Shane is like the little devil that's on his shoulder where he meets something.
Yeah.
What'd you say, AJ?
I said that would be cool, actually.
Right. He just hallucinates Shane, and it's just like almost like a dark buddy. I mean, listen, if it's going to be in the same vein as Logan, right? Logan had, X-23 with him, so Rick needs Shane with him. That's just me being a shameless John Bernthal stan, so that's really where it comes from. But AJ, what do you think about these comments of it being in the same vein as Logan?
That's pretty cool. I think with The Walking Dead, for me, I stopped around like season 3 or season 4 because all they were doing was walking in the woods. I was like, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. But hearing that this movie is going to be Logan-esque, that to have that noir feel, I think is a great way to bring the zombie genre into film. I don't think this has been really done, except for like what? I can't even think of anything right now. But I feel like that would be pretty cool to have. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, I stopped watching when Negan bashed in the brains of Abraham and Glenn. But they had disappointed me for a while when they did absolutely nothing with the Terminus people after teasing them for But I mean, come on, Tom, tell me like it wasn't disappointing that like they teased Terminus for all of season 4 and then we got them for like 2 episodes in season 5. I was so mad.
Yeah, I'll tell you the big problem with that show. They want to keep Daryl alive so bad, and I love Norman Reedus, great guy, but there's plenty of times where he should have been gone. I'm sorry, you got to do the Game of Thrones thing and kill off important characters when you don't expect it, because just keeping him around was just like you're making him like a ninja. Like I get he's a tracker and everything, but he's been tied up. He's been stabbed. He's been shot, and for some reason, this dude is like Terminator and just keeps on coming back. And I think that's just for the smoldering sex appeal of, that's what they want. I guess I don't know, because I've been to plenty of like Walker Stalker cons, and Norman Reedus has the biggest crowd, and now it's him and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. It's just back and forth, like, and they've always put them right across from each other, so you can't really tell who's got the bigger crowd. You just hear a whole bunch of, "Oh my God! Oh, look at him!" But yeah, Terminus could have been really, really good, and they dropped the ball a little bit there.
They did drop the ball, and I won't forgive them for it. But Ricky, what do you think about the idea of the Rick Grimes movie being in the same vein as Logan?
I can't believe The Walking Dead's still on television. I checked out after like season 2.5 or 3.5. I checked out because it's like it's one of those shows where it's like, all right, the whole entire season sucks, and then the season finale is so good, you're like, oh my God, maybe next season it'll be good. And then you watch it and you're like, oh my God, no, it's not. In the same vein as Logan, that's some big shoes to fill, right? Mm-hmm. Logan's one of the best comic book movies. Hugh Jackman's performance in that, holy cow. Like, I mean, Logan is a phenomenal film. So to kind of throw it out there in that same vein, I mean, what is it? The same vein, it's going to be dark, it's going to be creepy, it's going to be vicious, it's going to be violent, it's going to be brutal. Is that like that same vein type of thing? Then cool. Yeah, I mean, that should be something good. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll make a movie that's actually redeemingly good for the last like 7 seasons. Or I don't even how many seasons of Walking Dead are we on? Like 22 now? 10. Oh, I was close. You know what I'm saying? Like I kid. I know a lot of people that do enjoy Walking Dead, and I understand. But I Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, if I could watch the movie and not have watched the last 7 seasons, I'd be excited about it. Because, I mean, if you want to put it in that same vein, if you have a screenplay that good, like they did that with El Camino, right? With Breaking Bad.
Mhm.
El Camino's really good, right? It wasn't great. It wasn't perfect. But as a Breaking Bad fan, you kind of got those sentiments. You kind of got those warm and fuzzy feelings on the inside. Like it was that one last hurrah. You know, I don't do Better Call Saul. I don't think I'll ever will. But like it kind of was that one last hurrah for Breaking Bad for me. So I liked it. So I think it could be good, right? You know what I mean? Like it's always been one of those things. Zombie movies can be good. You know what I mean? They can be. They have been. You know, so World War Z was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, I'd probably watch it as long as somebody could tell me that I didn't have to watch the last 7 seasons to, understand what was going on. If Rick Grimes is still alive, I thought Rick Grimes died.
No, he's still alive.
Oh, somebody told me he died. I don't know.
They made him look like he died.
Oh, it's one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
And can John Berthold come back for the movie too? Because he was the main reason why I originally liked watching Walking Dead.
Me too. He was the only reason why I got into The Walking Dead. I had watched Daredevil season 2, and I was like, "What else is this guy in?" And it was like The Walking Dead, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then after he got killed in season 2, I was like, "I don't know if I really have a reason to go on." And then I kept watching it, and then I was like, I only watched that one episode in season 9 where he came back as the hallucination. That's what I'm saying. Like, let him be the hallucination for Rick Grimes. Maybe in the movie they can finally figure out a reason why the zombie apocalypse happened, because that always has bothered me. They, did that in the end of season 1, beginning of season 2, and then completely abandoned that whole storyline of even figuring it out. And it's like, I get it at some point. Survival becomes the number one priority, and it's like at that point, who even cares how it began? But I still care as the viewer. I still want to know why the world freaking turned like that, But I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like if you're gonna start doing movies, I would say end the series, which I know sounds really cynical and not nice for people who are fans. Oh, they're supposed to.
Season 10 was supposed to be the last season, and then during the middle of the season, they were like, season 11, and I was like, what? Because low key, I was kind of like, finally, we're gonna get some resolution, and how they're gonna end things is gonna be really creative, and they just keep on prologuing the end, and I'm like, where are you gonna go? Like, eventually, everybody's gonna die, I would assume. Like, what are you gonna do? So yeah, they were supposed to end it, but
and you took away Carl's, like, he was supposed to be the protege and all that, but
did he die?
He did die. He did die.
Somebody died.
Michonne left. Maggie hasn't been on there in a while because she went off on her own journey. So a lot of the main people, 2 or 3 other characters died in like season 8 or 9. So yeah, they were basically Daryl and Negan were carrying the show.
Yeah, which I had heard that, which, how long can that survive? I just think, like, I'm not really trying to shit on the show because I did watch it for so long, but I am also a firm believer of shows knowing when it's time to end. Like, I was a huge fan of Supernatural. And then by like season 10, it just felt like, okay, now we're just finding excuses for it to continue on. And that now I haven't watched it in about 3 or 4 seasons. So, I just feel like things should just, know when to end, know when to bookmark yourselves. But last topic of the night, it's going to be a real short one here. New Mutants saying that it's still going to try. I did think it was really funny because I have it up right here where it's like in theaters August 28th, and it's a little thing going fingers crossed, which is like, that's not happening. But I really want to see New Mutants. Like, the footage they showed looked really good. The trailers. I was excited 2 years ago when they freaking posted this. And then when finally people were like remembering that, hey, this movie actually looks like a good movie. But it is definitely not going to make this freaking theater date. Right, Dom?
No. They just need to go ahead and just release it video on demand. The people are willing to spend money on a good movie, but you need to have people like us be able to review these movies to let people know. Because my mom literally said that this when I got off work, she said, "Hey, are any of these movies worth me paying to watch them? I haven't heard anybody talk about them. And I'm like, well, if they send out more screeners for people to review them, people are willing to spend money because they want to watch new things. But I get you want to make $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
It don't happen that often. Sometimes you're going to take a loss. Sometimes you make it on the back end because the movie gets a late buzz. You know what I mean? How like The Office got a late buzz of being like the people put on their top shows of all time. But earlier on, people didn't think that. So you got to look. They got to start looking at the long game a little bit because you keep pushing these movies back. You're gonna release it on demand anyway because it might not come out next year, and theaters might not open the next year. Like we don't know. There's 6 strands of COVID now, so we don't know what's gonna happen. So just release it on demand. Let us watch it before we all die. You know.
It's so cryptic. I saw this really funny tweet before I move over to Ricky. I saw this really funny tweet where it was like breaking. 1 minute of the movie will premiere on Quibi for the next 90 years or something, and it pretty much feels like it at this point. But Ricky, how unlikely is it that they are going to actually meet that August 28th date?
Well, I don't know. I got an email from Regal today that says they're opening theaters August 21st. It's also the 9th email I've gotten from them telling me when they were going to reopen their, their movie theater. I don't think it's going to make the date. There has to be something in the contract between Fox and Disney that states that this movie has to come out in theaters. I've been preaching that for a while because there's no other reason why, or it's actually really good. Like, it's one of those two things. And I think it's more of they have it in the contract that it's really good. But, to be honest with you, I want New Mutants to be like the best superhero or whatever movie of all time. Just to be a slap in the face of all the people that have said how terrible it's going to be and stuff like it. It's one of those stories that I'd love to see, you know what I mean? All the people that criticized it for so long, but it's got to be one of those two things. Do I think it's going to come out the 28th? I don't think we're going to see movie theaters for the rest of the year. I really don't. I think if it's going to be hard pressed that we see a movie theater until January, and that's pushing it, I think, even then. But I mean, and if we do, it's going to be a very small amount of movie theaters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to hit this date, to be honest with you. I don't think anything's going to hit this date. I mean, I'm going to be really heartbroken if Tenet does come out overseas. I'm trying to book a flight now to fly somewhere where I can watch it.
They're not going to let you in.
I was going to say that we're not banned from going.
They ain't going to let you in. They're going to be like, stay there.
We allowed in Canada? Nope. We allowed in Mexico? Nope.
Europe doesn't want us. They're like, you can stay there. That your president, and be like, we didn't vote for him. I don't know what you're talking about. But according to an interview with Collider, director Josh Boone did reveal, the quote is, with most movies, you sign contracts guaranteeing a theatrical release, so it needs to open to ever go to digital in the first place. We just, too, would like to see people to see it in the theater, but it needs to obviously be at a right time when it's safe to go back. So it does seem like there is some contractual obligation that it needs to hit theaters first. But AJ, just rounding it out here, it's definitely not making that August 28th, right?
I'm going to be the optimistic one.
He's going to be the optimistic.
I would say it won't make it in the U.S. on that specific date.
The rest of the country, their like goodie bag is, beating COVID, while we in America are sitting here. Please give us movies.
I agree with that. That's what I was going to say. We probably won't get it. Hopefully, we get our shit together before then. But I think overseas they will get it. Same with Tenet. I know a lot of people really hate the idea for Tenet going overseas because they might get spoiled. But if it goes to video on demand, a lot more people will get spoiled anyway. So, and it'll make a lot less money than it going overseas. So it's hard. I will say for the studios, it is hard to see what will happen in the long run because there's so many possibilities of what's going to happen. Like I just said, if you have it overseas, we are going to get spoiled, but it'll still make a pretty decent amount, or at least more than if it was on VOD. But with VOD, we will all see it, and as fans, we will love to see it because we've been wanting to see Tenet and New Mutants and Wonder Woman for the longest time, basically. So I think that's where most fans are coming from. They just want to see these movies. But when it comes to studios, they're thinking about what will be the best thing to do to maximize our profits. And I think that's easier said than done than what most people are trying to tell studios.
Yeah, I mean, they are businesses. They do have to make money. They shelled out millions for these movies. So we'll just have to see what goes on, and hopefully people can get their shit together. But just wanted to throw this news out there. I'm not going to go in the round circle, but just wanted to say I've never seen this show, His Dark Materials, but it did get me very interested because Andrew Scott is going to be in the next season, and they confirmed that Phoebe Waller-Bridge will play the voice of his Damon, which is cool because I was a big fan of Fleabag, and if you liked Fleabag, Andrew Scott and Phoebe were co-stars in it, so I found that very exciting, and it instantly got me interested for His Dark Materials. But guys, this has been awesome, Geek Vibes Live. I am so happy to have you here and to discuss all of the topics that we did. Thank you again for being here and joining me. Before we close out, let's go around and tell us where we can find you and all that good stuff. AJ, I'm going to start with you. What do you have coming up, and where should we find you?
Well, you can always find me on Twitter at AJ_GeeksVibes. You can find me on Geeks Vibes Nation. I do articles there. You can find me on Movies Matrix. You can find me on Geekly Goods. You can basically find me anywhere nowadays.
I was going to say. That's awesome. Yes, everyone, please make sure you check that out for AJ. I'm so happy that he's back on a show. AJ and I used to podcast, I feel like, a ton back in the day, but of course, everyone is super busy. It's super relatable, and I'm just happy that you're back, AJ. Dom, you have been killing it with the interviews. I just saw something recently pop up. I can't keep track of all your interviews, so please let everyone know, what's on the docket, what's exciting, where can they find you?
Yeah, I just had an interview come out with Vlad Yudin, who does the Generation Iron series that's on Netflix about bodybuilding. The new one's coming out this Friday, and they're really good, like really good. Even if you don't know much about the bodybuilding world, it kind of gives you the insight of like what goes on, how these dudes get this big, and the competitions and that whole thing. And, you can find me on Twitter at king_fish. I don't use it I use it. I just don't speak as much on mine. And then I just downloaded Letterboxd, so eventually I'll start using that a little bit more. I started looking, and I was like, I've seen so many movies. I don't know if there's enough time for me to like put all of them in there. And yeah, I'm gonna have the August movie release list coming out. It's hard to do these now because you never know what's actually gonna come out. So I try to stick to the video on demand movies and the ones that are limited, which is video on demand because they're not gonna come out in any theaters. So yeah, I'm everywhere all the time. I'm sure I have an interview or two coming up sometime soon. I'm still waiting on Rob Liefeld to reach back out because he canceled on me. I have some questions, and he ducking me or something. So what's up, Rob? I got some things to ask you. So yeah, I'm not here.
I love it. Rob, if you're listening, call Dom back. It's not cool to ghost people, man. He's waiting here. But last but not least, Ricky, who you and Dom, of course, are competing for the best beard on this show. I'm not going to
He got me beat now, man.
But Ricky, it was wonderful having you. Never had you on a show before, so please let everyone know what you're doing. You got a lot of exciting stuff going on, so please promote yourself.
I don't even know where to begin to start. Obviously, you can find all of my work at themusiccitydrivein.com. We've got a lot of reviews coming. I actually just released a review of Harry Potter today. I watched it for the first time this past Sunday. I had never seen it before in my life, and actually really liked it. I was surprised, to be honest with you. But you can check out all my work over there. I've got reviews and articles and stuff like that pumping out all the time. Right now on the Music City Drive-In podcast, we are tackling the Oscars. There's not a lot of talk about in this world right now, so we're going back and renominating films and re-awarding the Oscars. We started back in the 2001 Oscars. We made it all the way up to 2003, which is available right now. We record that every Sunday. It's been a lot of fun doing those because it's like we want to give the awards to people that actually, deserve them. And it's kind of in tune with what we talked about earlier. But it's been a lot of fun doing that. Also have another podcast called The Debbie Delight. We've got the Drive-In Podcast Network, which is huge. We got so many different shows on the network, from music to pop culture to wrestling to football to fantasy football. We've got it all covered. So I think that's just about everything that I can plug right now without hurting my head. Oh, and follow me on Twitter at @RickyBlair_. So
yeah, make sure you definitely do that. I did tag Kelly in your Harry Potter thing because she's a massive fan there. But I would love to be part of your show one week, Ricky, so just let me know. But as for me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram, Tia Fabi. I did a really cool interview today, but I can't talk about it until Monday. But, of course, follow us at Geek Vibes Nation. You can find us at geekvibesnation.com. We have links to all of our social media platforms there. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Geek Vibes Podcast. We release a ton of stuff, such as Geek Vibes Live, the Top 10, Marty and Kathy's Coffee Binge, Wrestling Geeks Alliance, They Call This a Movie, Scene and Nerd, Stranger Damies, Ricky's Music City Drive-In, everything and anything in between that I can't remember right now, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but literally it's going boop like that. But thank you, everyone. Please like and subscribe. Tell us what you thought of what we talked about, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
See you.